not a super tight schedule, but we just wanted to be really fun and have a lot of energy. So working fast is cool like that. And then when you go somewhere else to mix it, you go, okay, so we got 5, 6 days or whatever it took. This is how long it's got to be done in, you know. So instead of spending a whole day on a track, you have to do 2, and you make decisions. And it was like going back to the old way that we've made records in the past before, computer editing or that sort of stuff, where you make a decision on the day in Sydney or whatever, and that's how it is, and it sticks.
And as you said, you're not making Sgt. Pepper's, so it's not like you can sit there and, I mean, these are songs from the riff mine that you've been digging out the riff.
Well, because now, I mean, you just need to be feeding anyone or any Dominion with songs. You don't need to, I mean, it's a lot of people just downloading songs now, not the album, and it's important to proliferate, I think, as a band, especially when you've got the opportunity to with such a great thing as the net, where you can just go bang, 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 here you go, put it up, here's a clip, here's a song.
Yeah, was there a temptation to give away the whole thing for free?
No, it's only the first one just to sort of regenerate a bit of interest. And there's certainly a price on it, we've got to pay for some of it back, but it's, for where we're at as a band, we just want to get out, people are still discovering who we are, and which is why, the other reason why we've put these unrealistic deadlines on ourselves. Not deadlines, but to say, okay, let's try and get one out by the end of next year or the end of this year. And that's how we've sort of done it. And doing that, you actually get it done,
Yeah, you got to have a checklist with things that you got to tick off. Otherwise, nothing ever gets done. Yeah. And besides, I mean, as much as you need new songs to play, you guys are like a live band, really, isn't it? That's where it all comes from.
In a way, but it's also really cool to make a good record. Like, having said, the fact that we wanted to do it fast and it's not Sgt. Pepper's, we also wanted to make a really good record, which we did, So, and it's not like, it's got minimal overdubs, but it's got bits in there that we've added, so it's got colour and all that sort of stuff. So it wasn't just like, there it is, There's some effort.
Yeah, I'm horrified to presume that there is no effort involved whatsoever.
No, we're not just putting anything out that we've got to. Like there was five or six songs that didn't make it. I was just,
Oh, what happens to them? They just go in the bin?
Oh, they just go into the, maybe we'll come back to them another time with a new attitude, or which is also known as the bin.
What are you chuckling about? Did you get some of your songs vetoed?
Oh no, you just. Sometimes they come back and other times they don't.
If they're worth coming back, they come back. Sometimes a part of a song is good, but the other part's crap, and you sit on it and wait till there's something else to go with that, and maybe you can make something of it.
Right. It's a good deal. It's very reasonable.
Yes. Yes. Very reasonable young man.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you the question, how important is it for a rock band to live the rock and roll lifestyle? Do you have to be drunk at all times to write proper rock and roll music?
No,
that's just a cliche.
It's such a load of shit. Yet we've probably both done it in our youth, and many bands do. And then you get to a point, it's like, well, it's just not real, unless you want to be like that and be drunk all the time and take heroin, and you end up sitting in a flat in St Kilda waiting for the world to come to you.
That's where the creativity is, obviously, in a flat in St Kilda.
Rock and roll's like, it's your whole life, and people like Dave and I have been doing it for like 20 years or so. It doesn't mean, some people stop, and that's cool, but for guys like us, that's what we do. But we don't spend every minute of every day drunk. We've got houses and families, and you got to make $1, and like, I'm more of a realist than living in some fantasy world. It's nice to go and get loaded every now and then, but
you're still doing these big tours. I mean, you guys got together when you were over in Europe.
Yeah, and that just goes against everything what we just said. Yeah, it's quite the opposite.
No, you do tours.
Yeah, but at the same time, after you do 2 weeks in Europe and you've been drunk every night, after the 2, it affects your show. So you've got to kind of go, hold on a sec, I've really got to have a night off the piss here. So, to get back to your question, that's the reality is you can't be loaded every single night of a tour.
Well, it's hard to do. I mean, with any art, you've got to draw from some well, and for a lot of people that well is, wrecking yourself and seeing what becomes of it, and then surfacing again with the story. You know, for some people that works great, but it's got to come from a spiritual source of some, and you've got to have some sort of emotional connection to it. It doesn't have to be intoxication or debauchery. It can be anything. There's never nothing to write about.
Yeah, there's stories here. We're getting death and sadness and all that sort of stuff.
That's right.
Which is
and but you've got to go down somewhere, not necessarily down, but you've got to go somewhere to get something, to give something back. So that sometimes it's a mental thing, it's an emotional thing. I don't know. It's but it is an old cliche. The old not that we haven't done it, because like I said, when we were in Europe, it's amazing that we would get in a van, we'd play in Bordeaux, and we'd get off stage and we'd be in a van at 1 a.m, and we'd be driving to Spain through the night, taking in turns in torrential rain on the right-hand side of the road in a foreign country, with a crappy car.
That's so great, though. I read things and you loved it.
I
you
loved
should be
it.
taking the Gun Street Girls over there.
Well, that's the reason. For me, that was the main motivation to get the band together. A small band that played rock and roll music, that could travel light, and that loved doing what we did over there. And so.
And those weird Europeans, they love their flat out rock and roll. I was talking to the guys from the Blacklist,
Yeah.
And they went over there and just had an incredible time. And I mean, they're a relatively small band here, but they just every night just killing it over there and having crazy times.
Yeah, well, they love Aussie music, and they love good Australian music. They don't like the sort of commercial stuff here. They like.
Yeah, they know like the Lime Spiders and the Scientists and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember we were packing out of a gig in Rennes. In France, and it was about 2 a.m, his car's going past with his music blaring. I'm going, I know that song, and it was Shark Fin Blues by the Drones.
Hey.
I'm like, wow, that's awesome, That's cool. And I think because, especially, especially the French, but kind of consistent with all Europe, their culture is founded on arts and the arts. And so, whereas ours in Australia is a lot more about, I don't know, footy and swimmers and stuff, and that's the stuff we really care about and wave the flag for. But over there, it's kind of, they love, it's not so ho-hum, it's like, cool.
But also you play a particular brand of Australian music, which is almost tied in with, the outdoors and beer and footy and all that sort of stuff. Just ballsy rock and roll.
Yeah. Well, we have a lighter side too, Andrew.
Yeah.
I love it. It was great. I loved it over there. I was so fascinated to see. Like I remember when I first went to France. Anyone who's been to Paris knows what a beautiful city is. But the last thing you expect to find there is great rock and roll music. That's the last thing. And I was blown away how good their clubs are and how good their little scene is there. And yeah, and I could see why Australian bands just jump on the plane.
And you can also see why international bands love coming here.
Yeah,
it's a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And also Melbourne being the rock town that it is.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get you to play, which I'm looking forward to very much. But I wanted to ask you one final question. Has any venue, when you've booked venues, has any venue ever been surprised that you are not in fact girls?
Yeah.
That has happened?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a dumb question, but
What
has
was
it
that?
happened? Has someone gone,
It's happened quite a bit, or people in the crowd or something, well, where's the girls?
A bunch of guys walking in, with their Brute 33 on, and and they're walking.
Yeah, then they leave. No. But a few audience people, I thought you were girls. It's like, well, we can be whatever you want, really.
Yeah, we can be. Or we do gigs every now and then where we do dress up as girls.
That's also very Australian
pretty hot.
footy,
Oh, yeah.
I had
Kitten
The
up.
cross-dressing's okay, isn't it?
but when we did that,
it's
we did a drag show one night. The rule is just when it happens, it happens. There's no set date.
It isn't like a
no
Halloween
Christmas
thing
show.
or
No.
something.
No, sometimes we get the call on the night and it's like, okay, tonight's the night. We pop down to the Salvos and pick out our best sparkly number. And sorry, I do that for sparkly number. I had balloons on that night.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you get fakies? Or
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, some would argue I wouldn't need them, but yeah, I do. Get fakies. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it is. It's like the golden ticket, in the Willy Wonka. It's nothing like the golden ticket in Willy Wonka. Carry on, Andrew. That was a silly analogy.
All right, I think we might leave it there, but we will get to hear a few songs very shortly. Thank you very much, boys.
Thank you.
For coming and talking.